So let's start here by looking at the flow of authentication in Splunk. So what triggers authentication is that a user is going to send in their credentials. So basically their username and password. And the first thing that Splunk does is that Splunk is going to attempt to use native authentication. So this is the authentication method that we've seen so far. So we install our Splunk, we configure an administrator user, we try to log in. All that is using native authentication. But if for some reason native authentication fails, then Splunk is going to proceed to try to use other forms of authentication. And this is where the external authentication methods are going to come in. So basically, Splunk is going to validate these credentials that you send against external systems in different methods. The first one here is LDAP. So with LDAP authentication, you are authenticating or verifying those credentials against an external LDAP server. And then with SAML single sign-on, you are using an external SAML identity provider for that. And then when we talk of scripted authentication, we are basically talking against a Redis server or a PAM. So with scripted authentication, you are basically using custom scripts or user-defined scripts to authenticate against these external servers. We're going to talk more about that. Now, these methods we have just seen here are what we call our primary authentication methods. So there are 4 of them, but we have another authentication method that is multi-factor authentication. So this is one of them that is very common these days, but it is not primary. We refer to this as a secondary authentication. Now, for enhanced security nowadays, when you log into apps, sometimes if you have MFA enabled, then you are going to be sent a code on your phone. So you're going to use that code again to further authenticate. That is just for enhanced security. It is not different with Splunk. It's exactly the same thing that we are talking about here. So that's why we say that it allows secondary authentication. Then it uses 2 security types. It can use either dual security or RSA security. We are going to see that. And because we are saying that MFA is a secondary authentication type, does it work with all the primary authentication types that we have in Splunk? Absolutely not. So it works with native authentication. It works with LDAP authentication. It works with scripted authentication, but MFA does not work with SAML SSO. So we just highlighted that when multiple authentication schemes are configured, then native authentication is going to take precedence. Now let's look at the precedence order here. But before we do that, if you go to settings and authentication methods, it's going to show you the different authentication schemes in the screen that we have here. So you are going to see your native authentication, which is the internal one, always on that we talked about. You see your LDAP, which is external, you see your SAML, and then you see your secondary authentication here, which is the MFA that we talked about, which can either be based on dual security or on RSA security. Now, what you notice is that there is something missing. We also talked about scripted authentication, but you don't see scripted authentication shown there. Why? Because this authentication type uses custom scripts. So basically, it is not just built into the Splunk software. It's basically that you are going to write custom scripts to connect to those external authentication systems like we saw the PAM and Radius. Now, what happens during that precedence order? The first thing is that Splunk always tries the native authentication first. So native authentication takes precedence over any external systems. So basically, Splunk will attempt that native authentication first. And then if it fails, and the failure most of the time is due to the fact that there is a non-existing local account. So Splunk is going to attempt LDAP. So if you are using LDAP authentication, your users are going to be defined in the LDAP server. So basically, when the credentials come in, Splunk is going to realize there are no local accounts. Then it's going to try LDAP first. If LDAP fails as well, so maybe the user accounts are not in LDAP, in that case, if you have scripted authentication configured via your custom scripts, it's going to use that. So one of the key things The authentication mechanism that is used by SAML is initiated separately. We are going to see the details of that later. That is why SAML does not really fall into this sequential check. So you should understand that SAML is not part of this precedence order. Now we have some exam tips here. The first one reads, what happens if a username is defined both as a native Splunk user and within the LDAP directory? So here it's talking about precedence, and a possible answer here is Splunk settings take precedence. So it's going to use the local account, and that is native authentication. The second one here reads, which authentication methods are built into and supported by Splunk Enterprise by default? Choose all that apply. So basically, you are choosing those authentication methods that fall into what we're just looking at here on the screen. So you have like native authentication. If it's on the list, you pick it, that's fine. So you are really looking at those that are in the list of your answers. LDAP is good. We have LDAP here. SAML, we have SAML here. Dual multi-factor authentication, we have it here. But if you have scripted authentication as an option, that is not going to be a good answer here, because in that case, you have to write custom scripts to enable authentication to take place. So when you configure Splunk authentication settings on the web user interface, it's going to update the authentication.conf configuration file in the backend. So if you were to verify authentication settings using configuration files, this is the file that you're going to be looking at.